What's up, guys? It is your boy Bernardo from the BTN HD, and yes, 1 week with the Lenovo Y530, and it's time for the review, so let's get to it. Now, one of the things that I definitely have to give to Lenovo is the way that they took their time designing the Y530. I love the way that the back cover feels. It gives me that whole vinyl kind of feel, because I feel like I'm scratching record every time I'm touching it. Right here on your left hand side, you have the beautiful Legion logo, and the O kind of lights up, gives you that Y signature. That's awesome. On the back side, I love the indication of the ports. That's a nice little touch there. The entire body is made out of two types. The primary type material is ABS plastic, and around the keyboard, you're going to get this nice soft touch palm rest material that feels a little rubber, but it doesn't warm your palms when you're constantly using the keyboard. Now, the Y530 is a solid laptop. It weighs around 5 pounds. So this is one of the laptops that you're definitely not going to be traveling with a lot. You're going to set it, hook it up to your power supply, and forget it and start using it right away. Now, one of the things that the Y530 does not lack, and that's ports and connections. If you have the laptop to the point that you're able to open it up like this, on the right hand side, we have one 3.1 USB. We have your vent system right here to keep it nice and cool, to release all that hot air. On the left hand side, we have one combo jack, which allows you to hook up your mic as well as your microphone. We have an additional 3.1 USB port, and we have more vents right here. Now on the back hand side, we have your power port, which allows you to hook up your power adapter. We have your RJ45 or your Ethernet port. We have your HDMI. We also have an additional 3.1 USB port. You have your mini display port. And last but not least, you have your Type-C port. Now, this Type-C port allows you to output to a monitor, which is awesome. All right, so let me stop talking and let's open up the Y530 because this is an awesome little laptop. Let's take our sweet time opening it up. Bam! Awesome. Let's turn it on, and the power button is located right dead center on the keyboard. So let's power this guy on and just feel that power. You're going to get introduced with Lenovo's Y logo for the Y lineup, their Legion lineup. Let's boot into that desktop. Awesome. So let's start with the basic, right? Let's talk about the trackpad. Now, the Y530 trackpad has a nice little design. It has that rectangular design, which I'm not used to, but it was very responsive. Didn't give me any issues at all, which is a huge plus. Now, the only problem that I can complain is the left and right click. It gets to the point when you're constantly using it, that clicking sound kind of drives you a little crazy. But again, other than that, it works. Now, the keyboard for the Y530 is a full bleed, meaning it gives you the number pad. The only thing that I miss on the number pad is the enter key, which was okay. The keyboard itself is backlit. Now, I did complain during my unboxing / first impressions that the keyboard wasn't RGB, but I did get used to the white glow of the keyboards, which worked great during nighttime when I was playing games. Now, the distance between each key, if you take a nickel and a dime, that's your distance, which is nice to the point that when I was using the laptop for my day-to-day work stuff like typing email, creating Word documents and stuff, I didn't make a lot of mistakes, which was a huge plus. Now, the keys itself feels extremely smooth in the fingertips. I like that. Plus, it doesn't give you that huge loud noise of that clicking sound like the majority of these gaming laptops in the market has. Okay, so we went over the trackpad. We went over the beautiful keyboard. How about the display? Now, the Y530 comes with a beautiful 15.6 Full HD IPS anti-glare display. What a mouthful. With a resolution of 1920 by 1080. Now, for brightness, this is the highest that you could get on the Y530. Now, to adjust the brightness, you actually have to hold the function key and hit F5 or F6. So I'm going to hit F6 to go all the way up. This is the brightest. And F5 to lower it all the way down. And this is the lowest. Now, to me, the way I'm looking at it, it's completely black. And the only thing that I could actually see is the Y in the middle of the desktop of the, the logo, which is awesome. And that's because of the wallpaper. So I'm going to do function F6 to raise it up. Awesome, cool. Now, I think the nits between the display is around 250 to 300. Now, one of the things I do not like about the display on the Y530 is the location of the webcam. Now, the location of the webcam is right in the bottom. That sucks because let's go to side camera. Let's open up the camera. when you have the camera up, it's looking up, right? That sucks. You have to adjust the display. Who wants that? That's the only thing I do not like about the Y530, the location of the webcam. Now, don't get me wrong, the webcam is 720p HD, which is great. But if the webcam was right here at the middle, dead center at the top, it'd have been awesome. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like the location of the webcam, but I did use it with Skype when I was talking to one of my friends. I did notice that right next to the webcam, you have your two mics, which is pretty cool. Now, Lenovo does provide you an application within the Windows 10 environment that allows you to modify and adjust your microphones for your environment. So that application is actually called Lenovo Vantage. One of the things I don't like about the app, it takes its sweet time loading up. Plus, it needs Wi-Fi for it to work correctly. So once the application is up and running, you want to click on System Tools. And within System Tools, you want to go to Audio and Visual. From here, this allows you to configure your microphone settings. So we're going to click on this little tab right here. Click on Microphone Settings. And you are able to mute it and unmute it, adjust the volume of the microphone, and optimize your microphone for the following. For voice recognition, only my voice, normal, and multiple voices. Now, when I was using Skype and talking to my friend, I kind of optimized my microphone settings to only my voice. On the other end, they didn't complain. It didn't sound like I was inside of a warehouse, which was a huge plus. And the mics on the Y530 works really well. Now, during my time with the Y530, I did notice some heating areas that concerns me. Now, don't get me wrong, the Y530 does come with dual fans underneath the machine to keep it nice and cool, but by theory, even though it's a great idea, it has a flaw. And that flaw is when the machine gets to a certain point in heating, it doesn't automatically enable itself to keep the machine nice and cool. You have to turn it on, which sucks. Now, the heating problems that I noticed on the Y530 comes around this area as well as the back area. Those parts get extremely hot. Now, when I was gaming, it gets extremely loud as well. Because the machine is trying to keep itself cool. Now, that's not the dual fans underneath enabling itself. It doesn't do that. Now, the only way that you can enable it is two ways. You could use a command, or if you go inside the Lenovo Vantage app, right there, it tells you cooling boost. You could also change the keyboard shortcut, which is Control-Shift-I by default. It doesn't use any numbers, so it has to be a letter. Now, to enable it, at first, I thought if you just hit Control-Shift-I, it would turn on. That's not the case. You actually have to hold all three keys simultaneously for this to work correctly. So if you have Control-Shift-I, it automatically turns on. Now, you would think because you turn on the cooling boost, it's gonna, keep the machine cool and then shut off. That's not the case. It's gonna stay like this until you turn it off. And it's pretty loud. Now, when I was gaming, let me turn it off real quick. Control-Shift-I, hold it. Now, when I was gaming with the machine, when I was playing Street Fighter, it got really, really hot. I think it got between 100 to 101 degrees. When I turned the cooling boost on, it dropped the temperature extremely fast. But again, I have to constantly turn it off and on because it's not going to turn off by itself once the machine gets to a cooling point. Now, regardless if you have cooling boost enabled on the Y530, the performance is amazing. I was capable of going a little higher than 60 frames per second when I was playing Street Fighter, as well as League of Legends. I was able to cap between 200 to 250 frames per second. Now, the specifications on the Y530, the one that I have been reviewing for you guys, let's go inside the desktop. So we're going to right click on the taskbar. We are going to go to Task Manager. We are going to click on the Max button right here. Let's go to Performance tab. Now for CPU, it has a quad-core Intel i5-8300H CPU with a clock speed of 2.30 gigahertz. And that's your base clock speed. I think the max is around 4.0. For memory, this particular unit has 8 gigs of memory. But the cool thing about the Y530 is that you can max it out to 32 gigs. Now, for hard drive space, for storage, it comes with a Samsung solid state drive capacity of 256 gigs. Now, it comes with 2 GPUs, graphic cards, You're going to definitely get the Intel Ultra HD Graphics 630, and that's because of the CPU. Now, it also has an NVIDIA GTX 1050 with 4 gigs. Now, the graphics card is what made a huge difference for me when I was gaming with Street Fighter as well as League of Legends and even Dead by Daylight. This graphics card is great with this particular machine. Now, with the specifications and the power that this Y530 has, you have to think to yourself, how about the battery? Again, at the very beginning of the video, I told you guys this guy is a laptop that you just set it at home, plug in your power adapter, and just forget about it. It's not really a traveling laptop, and the reason why is because of the battery life. Like all my laptops, I like to run PC Mark 8 to run 3 battery tests. And on the last one, I take it home fully charged without the power adapter and I use it. Now for the first test on PC Mark 8, it gave it 2 hours and 23 minutes. On the second one, it took about 2 hours and 35 minutes. And on the third one, it took about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So that's really low. Again, this is not really a mobile laptop that you could take with and depend on the battery life. It's not. On the fourth time, I normally like to keep track of how long it takes to charge. Around 11:21 a.m., I started with 18%. To get 100%, it took literally 2 hours and 13 minutes. It's a long time to wait to get this machine up and running with 100% to take it out and travel with. Now, for my fourth test, it took around 2 hours and 34 minutes, which I was really surprised that PC Mark 8 was on the money with their battery testing. Because that's how long it lasts at home, 2 hours and 34 minutes. For those individuals that need a laptop to travel with a strong battery, the Y530 is not it for you. Trust me. Okay, so the battery life sucks, but the Y530 has the specifications that I need to game and even do my day-to-day stuff with Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, and all that other stuff. That's awesome. But how about the pricing? Am I going to spend a lot of money, like $1,300 because of the specifications, but still I got a sucky battery life? I was super surprised on the pricing on the Y530. So let's go inside the Lenovo site and let's check it out. Now, the starting price for the Y530 15-inch is only $750, which is not that bad. Now, the specifications, it kind of varies because it really depends on you. You are able to get this particular machine with an i7-8750H 6-core processor. The clock speed on that is going to be 2.20 gigahertz, and you can get it up to 4.10 gigahertz with turbo boost. Now, the one that I have been testing out is an i5 processor with a quad-core processor. Now, for display, you can get it 2 types, which is pretty cool. This one right here, the 250 nits, is the one that I've been testing out. This is the IPS anti-glare. And the second one, which they're advertising, is going to be a 144 hertz. Now, the one that I have been testing out for you guys is 60 hertz, which is not that bad. Plus, you are able to configure it with a 1050 Ti, but 4 gigs. They are advertising that the battery life is going to be up to 5 hours of battery life. Yeah, I proved that wrong. Memory, again, they're stating up to 16 gigs, but you can only get it configured within the Lenovo site, 16 gigs. But you are able to max it out to 32 gigs. Now, for storage, you're able to get a combo, meaning you could get a solid-state drive by itself, or you get a SATA, or you get a solid-state drive with a SATA. I would definitely go with a solid-state drive and a SATA because that SATA hard drive would be your raw storage device. Now let's look at the current models right now because different prices, right? Now for $750, you're going to get the Intel i5-8300H processor. This is a dual-core processor with a clock speed of 2.30. You're only going to get 8 gigs of memory. You're definitely going to get that GTX 1054 gigs. You're still going to get that full HD, nice. But this one only comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive with 7200 RPMs, so SATA 3. No solid state drive. Now the most expensive one is going to cost you around $1,100. And this one is going to give you the i7-8750H 6-core processor with a clock speed of 2.20 gigahertz. You could go up to 4.10 gigahertz with turbo boost. This one is going to definitely give you 16 gigs of memory. For hard drive space, it gives you a combo of 128 gig solid state drive and a 1 terabyte 5400 RPM. That's pretty cool. And another bonus, because you're spending more money, you're definitely going to get a nice graphics card, and that's the GTX 1050 Ti. All right, so let's conclude on our review on the Y530. Now, one of the cool things I love about this laptop is that it allows me to hook up 3 external monitors. With the Type-C, HDMI, and mini display port, this is how I could accomplish this setup, which is pretty awesome. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a pretty cool feature, but one of the things I do not like about this machine is the location of the webcam, plus the battery life. For 2.5 hours, that's not good at all for a mobile device. Now, this machine is one of those machines that you just drop it on the desktop, hook up your power supply, and just leave it be. Now, for the price point of $750 up to $1,100, I don't want to call this an entry-level laptop. If you have a gaming laptop at home running a 980 GTX or under, and you want something a little bit more, this is definitely what you want. You want a better processor, better GTX graphics card. This is what you should look into. And that's why I'm classifying the Y530 a mid-range laptop for those individuals that already been gaming for a while, already have a gaming laptop, but you need more power with your graphics card, memory, storage, and also your CPU. This is what you should look into. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review on the Y530. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them at the bottom, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.